P.S. The gas in a sewage ejection pit is considered both explosive and flammable. Methane gas is a byproduct of the anaerobic decomposition of organic matter which is present in sewage. Methane is a flammable gas that can explode when mixed with air in the right proportions. An explosion-proof seal-off is required between the pit and the controller to prevent the ignition of methane gas from reaching the controller. The seal-off should meet the requirements of the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and local building codes. In addition to preventing explosions, sealing the connection between the pit and the controller also helps to prevent corrosion. The corrosive gases and moisture present in the pit can damage the controller, which can lead to malfunction and failures. Common sealing methods used for sewage ejection pits include, firstly, watertight sealing connectors. These connectors create a watertight seal and also prevent the passage of flammable gases. Secondly, explosion-proof enclosures. These enclosures house the controller and are designed to withstand the pressure of an explosion, preventing the ignition of gas from reaching the controller. Thirdly, remote mounting. Mounting the controller in a separate location away from the pit can eliminate the need for sealing. The NEC requires that electrical equipment located in hazardous areas such as sewage ejection pits be installed in accordance with specific safety measures, including the use of explosion-proof equipment and seal-offs. Several sections of the NEC pertain to this topic, specifically articles addressing hazardous locations. These articles classify areas based on the properties of the flammable vapors, gases, or dusts that may be present, and the likelihood of their presence. Sewage ejection pits would likely be classified as a Class 1, Division 1 or Division 2 location, depending on the frequency and extent of the hazardous material being present. Class 1 locations are those where flammable gases or vapors are or may be present in the air in quantities sufficient to produce explosive or ignitable mixtures. Division 1 locations are those where the hazardous material is present continuously, intermittently, or periodically under normal operating conditions. Division 2 locations are those where the hazardous material is not normally present in explosive concentrations but may exist in the event of an accident or unusual operating condition. Once the area classification is determined, the NEC specifies the types of wiring methods, equipment, and sealing requirements that must be followed. Explosion-proof equipment is designed to contain an internal explosion without causing ignition of the surrounding atmosphere. Seal-offs are used to prevent the passage of gases, vapors, or flames from one portion of an electrical system to another. They are typically installed in conduit runs entering enclosures that contain arcing or sparking devices. Proper installation of explosion-proof equipment and seal-offs is critical to ensure the safety of personnel and equipment. Installers must be properly trained and familiar with the requirements of the NEC and local building codes. Regular inspections and maintenance should be performed to ensure that all equipment is in good working order and that all seals are intact. In addition to the NEC, other standards and guidelines may apply to the design and installation of electrical systems in sewage ejection pits. These may include standards from organizations such as the International Electrical Testing Association, or IATA, and the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. These standards provide guidance on topics such as testing and maintenance of electrical equipment and fire protection systems. When selecting equipment for use in a sewage ejection pit, it is important to consider the specific conditions that will be present. This includes the type of gas or vapor that may be present, the temperature range, and the level of humidity. Equipment should be selected that is specifically designed and rated for use in these conditions. It is also important to consider the potential for corrosion. Sewage ejection pits can be a corrosive environment, so equipment should be selected that is resistant to corrosion. This may include using materials such as stainless steel or special coatings. Proper grounding is also essential for electrical systems in sewage ejection pits. Grounding helps to protect against electrical shock and also helps to prevent the buildup of static electricity, which could ignite flammable gases or vapors. The grounding system should be designed and installed in accordance with the requirements of the NEC. Surge protection is another important consideration for electrical systems in sewage ejection pits. Surges can damage sensitive electronic equipment, so surge protection devices should be installed to protect against these events. The surge protection devices should be selected based on the specific voltage and current requirements of the equipment being protected. Regular maintenance is essential for electrical systems in sewage ejection pits. This includes inspecting equipment for signs of damage or corrosion, testing grounding systems, and verifying the proper operation of sealoffs and explosion-proof equipment. Any problems that are found should be corrected promptly to prevent potential hazards. In summary, the gas in a sewage ejection pit is considered both explosive and flammable. An explosion-proof seal-off is required between the pit and the controller to prevent the ignition of methane gas. Sealing also prevents corrosion of the controller. NEC requirements must be followed. Specific considerations include area classification, equipment selection, corrosion protection, grounding, surge protection, and regular maintenance. Always consult with qualified professionals and adhere to all applicable codes and standards when working with electrical systems in hazardous locations. The area classification process involves identifying the specific hazards present and determining the likelihood of those hazards occurring. This assessment guides the selection of appropriate equipment and installation method. For example, if a sewage ejection pit is determined to be a Class 1, Division 1 location, all electrical equipment installed within the pit must be approved for use in that type of environment. This equipment is typically designed to be explosion-proof, meaning it can contain an internal explosion without igniting the surrounding atmosphere. Wiring methods must also be appropriate for the area classification. For example, rigid metal conduit with threaded connections is often used in Class 1, Division 1 locations to provide a robust and gas-tight wiring system. Sealoffs are installed in conduit runs to prevent the migration of flammable gases or vapors from one area to another. These devices typically consist of a fitting that is filled with a sealing compound after the wires are installed. The sealing compound creates a barrier that prevents the passage of gases or vapors. Proper installation of seal-offs is crucial to their effectiveness. The sealing compound must be properly mixed and applied to ensure a complete and gas-tight seal. Regular inspection should be performed to verify that the seal-offs are in good condition and have not been damaged or compromised. In addition to explosion-proof equipment and seal-offs, other safety measures may be required in sewage ejection pits. These may include ventilation systems to remove flammable gases or vapors, and gas detection systems to monitor the levels of methane and other hazardous substances. Training is also essential for personnel who work in or around sewage ejection pits. Workers should be trained on the hazards associated with these environments and on the proper procedures for working safely. This training should include instruction on the use of personal protective equipment, such as respirators and flame-resistant clothing. Regular safety audits should be conducted to identify potential hazards and to ensure that safety procedures are being followed. These audits should be conducted by qualified professionals who are familiar with the requirements of the NEC and other applicable standards. The electrical system in a sewage ejection pit typically includes a pump motor, control panel, and various sensors and switches. The pump motor is used to pump sewage from the pit to a higher elevation. The control panel provides a means of controlling and monitoring the pump motor. Sensors and switches are used to detect the level of sewage in the pit and to activate the pump motor when the level reaches a certain point. All of these components must be properly selected and installed to ensure the safe and reliable operation of the system. The control panel should be located outside of the hazardous area if possible. This can help to reduce the risk of explosion and corrosion. If the control panel must be located within the hazardous area, it must be housed in an explosion-proof enclosure. The enclosure must be properly sealed to prevent the ingress of flammable gases or vapors. The pump motor should also be explosion-proof if it is located within the hazardous area. The motor should be properly grounded to prevent electrical shock. Wiring connections should be made using approved methods and materials. All wiring should be properly supported and protected from damage. Regular maintenance of the electrical system is essential to ensure its continued safe and reliable operation. This maintenance should include inspecting all components for signs of damage or corrosion, testing the grounding system, and verifying the proper operation of all safety devices. Any problems that are found should be corrected promptly. The NEC provides detailed requirements for the installation of electrical equipment in hazardous locations. These requirements are designed to minimize the risk of explosion and electrical shock. It is essential to follow these requirements carefully when installing electrical equipment in sewage ejection pits. In addition to the NEC, other codes and standards may also apply. These may include local building codes, fire codes, and environmental regulations. It is important to be familiar with all applicable codes and standards before beginning any work on an electrical system in a sewage ejection pit. Working with electrical systems in hazardous locations can be dangerous. It is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from harm. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, following all safety procedures, and being aware of the potential hazards. If you are not qualified to work on electrical systems in hazardous locations, do not attempt to do so. Hire a qualified electrician who is experienced in this type of work. Remember, safety should always be the top priority when working with electrical systems in sewage ejection pits. Failure to follow proper safety procedures can result in serious injury or death. Consulting with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector can help to ensure that the electrical system is designed and installed in accordance with all applicable codes and standards. They can also provide guidance on selecting the appropriate equipment and materials for the specific application. Furthermore, it is vital to maintain accurate records of all electrical work performed in the system, including inspections, testing, and repairs. These records can be valuable for troubleshooting problems and for demonstrating compliance with regulatory requirements. Regularly reviewing and updating safety procedures can help to identify and address potential hazards before they lead to accidents. This review should involve input from workers who are familiar with the specific conditions and hazards of the sewage ejection pit environment. Implementing a comprehensive safety program that includes training, inspections, and audits can significantly reduce the risk of accidents and injuries. This program should be tailored to the specific needs and hazards of the sewage ejection pit environment. Staying informed about the latest codes, standards, and best practices for electrical safety is essential for ensuring the ongoing safety of workers and the reliable operation of the electrical system. This can be achieved by attending industry conferences, subscribing to relevant publications, and participating in professional organizations. By taking a proactive approach to electrical safety, it is possible to minimize the risks associated with working in sewage ejection pits and to create a safe and healthy working environment. Always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals when in doubt.